trauma is it's everywhere, and we must take command of it at this point, right? Because how we direct the energy in our body is going to determine where we hold that, or whether, the difference between fear and panic, for example, right? Fear is normal, right? But if it stifles us, then it's panic, and then that gets hardwired into the nervous system.
But that's it, man. And again, let's look at not just physical, right? How about career wise? How many of you men have never broken through this particular financial thermostat setting? Right. You've tried and tried, from this job to that project to this entrepreneurial idea, and everything you try, every business, whatever, it's like, bam, same result, bam, same result, sabotage, bam, it fell apart, bam, this person did that, bam, that market did that. It doesn't matter. It's never about the circumstance.
Yep.
The only common denominator in every single one of those is you.
Oh.
So what's the unresolved trauma? For me, and I speak from experience, that was a big one. That was a big one for me, is breaking through that financial belief system and setting. I told you my dad left when I was 3. My mom, God bless her, she was busting her ass working 3 jobs at one time to support 2 kids, and we were just over broke, right? J-O-B, job, just over broke, right? And I remember being a child and singing this song. Forgive me for my singing attempts, but may look ragged and funny, ain't got a barrel of money, but we're walking along, singing our song side by side. That was the song, and it became a bonding experience for me with my mother as a child. This was one of our deepest moments of connections, because we get in the car and we would sing that song whenever it came on. And so what's my belief system? That we're broke and we're rags, right. Ain't got a barrel of money, may look ragged and funny, but we're happy. And God, I remember that one, and again, I don't blame my mom for anything she did. Thank God for her. She's done so many amazing things in the world and in my life. The fact that I have a life is because of her. So Thank you, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes. Happy day after Mother's Day. Yes, exactly. And money doesn't grow on trees. They may be rich, but they're not happy.
The one I heard on that, because I think finance is a huge place for trauma, and story that men and people will have to overcome and break through. The one I heard was anytime someone, like whether it was a politician or a celebrity or even someone we knew when I was growing up, that like did something bad or illegal or got busted for something, it was like, well, they have a lot of money. So it was always this reference that if you had a lot of money, you're gonna be a bad person.
Right. I got that one too.
Oh, well, if I make a lot of money, I'm going to be a bad person, and I'm going to ascend an even deeper level. Love's going to be taken from me or withdrawn.
Yep.
Right. Well, they have a lot of money, and it was like this.
Yeah.
Pushing against it.
If you ever get rich, you're going to be an asshole. Nobody's going to love you. That was the one I got. Yeah, same message.
Yeah.
And there's some men out there that got the opposite, that their only worth and value was if they made a lot of money. But what kind of emotional trauma does that create? What kind of self-worth trauma does that create? That your only value is the amount of money in your bank account?
Yeah.
So, man, in whatever way it plays out for you, again, as I said on a previous episode, what are the actionables? Inventory. First, take an inventory, a fearless self-inventory. I go, what is the trauma? What is this thing that's running my life? What's the saying, Michael? Your greatest growth comes from the thing that you're avoiding, right? The place you don't want to look, that's probably where there's trauma.
Yeah, that's where your healing is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the importance. We're obviously Ignite the King, and we have our brotherhood, our mastermind, our work that we do. And that's the point, is to create a space where it's like, I'm going to actively look at this stuff, right? I know that, and I may not know what I'm looking for. I'm just willing to look, right? So it's, as far as like taking inventory, it may not be obvious, right? Some of it probably really is. And that's why you see a professional facilitator, a coach, someone that can safely bring you into those places that, I mean, they're wounded places for a reason. You have to be in a safe environment and be taken into that process to see what's there. And to be willing to recognize there's something probably there.
Right. If you don't have access to a brotherhood like Ignite, then enlist the help of a qualified professional.
Absolutely. I mean, trauma is it's everywhere, and we must take command of it at this point, right? Because how we direct the energy in our body is going to determine where we hold that, or whether, the difference between fear and panic, for example, right? Fear is normal, right? But if it stifles us, then it's panic, and then that gets hardwired into the nervous system.
We've gone from fight to flight to freeze. Panic is freeze.
Yeah, exactly.
And, thinking of the men and the brotherhood, we talk about our AAA, right? Awareness, acknowledgement, and then action, right? You have to be aware that there's trauma. You have to be aware that there's a problem. Then you have to acknowledge it. And again, if it came from your mom or your dad, you're not blaming them. You're not saying that they're bad parents, but hey, acknowledge this thing hurt me. Maybe it was what they did. Maybe it's your interpretation of what they did. Doesn't matter right now. The acknowledgement is this hurt me. This created trauma. This created a wound. This created a belief system that is no longer serving me, if it in fact ever did. So then there's the action of healing it. I'm thinking of our one man, one of the newer men out of Colorado who had some trauma, had some belief system established by his father, and he saw how that was playing out with his wife and his children.
100%.
And how he transformed that. You want to speak to that a little bit, because that was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned it earlier in the episode around the father wound and the mother wound, and just to put this in context, for those of us in our 30s, 40s, 50s, our fathers came from an era where they didn't show emotion. They weren't working on themselves. They weren't seeking therapy. They weren't, in conscious, quote unquote, relationships, right? It was a very different time. Like, this was not in the culture, just didn't really exist. And again, like we always say, like, your stuff's not even your stuff. It's not even your father's stuff. How far back does it go? And for this man, he set up a certain belief system around how he dismissed his children's pain and told him to just, get over it, essentially. In his words, the way he said it. But it was basically get over it. And he didn't have a tolerance for their pain. And it made him indifferent, and it made him unfeeling. And, the biggest thing he wanted was how to be present, how to be empathetic, how to actually, feel what his wife and children were feeling without judgment. And proud to say, and man, it was almost immediate, but in 3, 6, whatever months it's been, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 6 to 8 months, it's been radically transformed. So that's the power of doing the work. Is, these traumas, these cycles can go on for generations, and it could also be interrupted and changed in a moment when a powerful decision is made.
Right.
And we always say, what you do for yourself, you do for all men. All men that come after you.